We've previously broken down what makes a card bad, but what about the opposite end of the spectrum? What makes a whole deck good? Currently, in our English 1.0 meta, Omnimon decks are running away with wins and dominating events. In the very soon to come 1.5 meta, we see new decks introduced that did consistently well too in Japan. All these top dogs have multiple things in common: consistency, synergy, speed, and good matchups. Let's see how these three things come together to create a powerful deck. Cards working together to power up a strategy or increase its consistency through synergy is at the core of a powerful deck. It doesn't matter how hard you can hit if you can't find the card that's doing the punching. In trading card games, decks will often include searchers, cards that look through your deck to find your win con or pieces. In the case of Digimon, there is, as of now, no add from deck directly to hand searchers. Instead, there are cards that reveal a certain number from the top of your deck, and you can grab the card it specifies in its effect if you reveal it. If your deck can run these, you always will, because you could lose in the time it takes to find your win con if you keep stalling, hoping to draw it. A deck is more than just 50 random cards though. The synergy they have together is incredibly important. If you just run 50 random strong Digimon, you will highly likely brick every game by not being able to Digivolve. In Yu-Gi-Oh!, if you just ran 40 random strong monsters, you would brick and play too slow against your opponent who is building an unbreakable board. The cards in your deck working together towards a strategy or your win con give it the fluidity to keep performing and adjust to your opponent. If we go back to searchers, Purple's gimmick in the Digimon TCG is deleting your own Digimon and filling up your trash. Cards like Miramon in the 1.5 set let you draw and fill up your trash. In any other color, the discarding would offset the advantage of the draw and be a difficult decision, but in purple, there are multiple boss monsters that require a certain amount of cards in your trash to activate their effect. On top of that, there are cards that add other cards from the trash back to your hand or back to the field, making purple's trash almost a second hand. Because of this synergy with purple's playstyle, Miramon becomes a valuable tool to any purple deck. Related to all of this, the speed at which your deck can find these synergy cards and get them working together is crucial. Slower decks can still compete if they control the board well, but generally, if you are able to get to your boss monster before your opponent and the payoff is big, you stop them from being able to build a response to it. In Omnimon decks, the vanillas in Booster Set 1.0 all help you climb to him very fast. This is what makes Omnimon so powerful: the synergy of multiple vanillas to digivolve into him as fast as possible, and how strong of a top end he is. Omnimon can be a potential board wipe and apply more pressure by unsuspending itself for a second swing. If your opponent can't catch up fast enough after Omnimon sets them back, you win. If we look at all Force decks in our English 1.5 set, they also have synergy cards that power up their top end and help search. But they have more pieces and their evolution costs are, on average, more expensive than Omnimon, making its slower speed harder to compete with Omnimon. Lastly, matchups are important to a deck being considered good. A deck can build to its top end as fast as possible, and that top end can be very strong, but if it has a bad matchup against everything else in the meta, there is simply no place for that deck. It could be just waiting for the right meta, but as long as there's decks that do what it wants to do better or completely counter its strategy, it can't perform. The great thing about a 50 or so card deck is that you can adjust and tailor it to different metas in an attempt to compete and continue being good. A deck's malleability is important to its long-term success. In Yu-Gi-Oh!, decks will be supported by archetypes, and some of these are very xenophobic and do not take well to outside generic support. Because of this, they're often at the mercy of Konami printing specific support to them to be able to effectively adapt to new metas if they fall too far behind. Knowing your common opponents and seeing if your deck can be adjusted to perform better against them is important to its ability to be considered good. Consistency, synergy, speed, and good matchups all come together to create a powerful deck. You may not always need all four, but the other three categories need to really pick up the slack if that deck is to still compete. Like a well-oiled machine, all these parts come together to create a powerful strategy you can use. A deck is never more than the sum of its parts. At the end of the day, good is only one factor you have to consider when picking a deck you want to play. It's just as important you enjoy your deck lest you end up mindlessly autopiloting and misplay every game. Thanks for watching. If you discovered any decks you are interested in playing in this video, please consider using my TCG Player affiliate link in the description below. You give me a little kickback and support the channel. I hope this video helped you out. I'd love to hear in the comments what other topics you would like to see covered on this channel. I'll see you in the next video, and until then, remember to stay hungry until you get a taste of victory.